Welcome back. We're going to share a few high-yield takeaways from week 3 of my strategic management and executive leadership program I'm enrolled in at Penn State. This week, we're going to focus on power and influence again and how organizations move and actually make change. At a high level, this week, we're going to reinforce that leadership often is shaped less by intent and more by design. Power rarely sits where organizations charts say they do, and influence is almost always relational. So that leads to the first kind of core idea I want to talk about related to power and influence, because power flows through relationships, not resumes. So we are social creatures. We have to interact. We have to understand each other. Performance may earn you attention, but relationships determine that influence. So people can decide how much of that performance actually sees light, because titles grant authority, but authority only really works when it's accepted. Network positions often matter more than their formal roles. Influence grows when we become a connection point that others often rely on. So once you see power this way, and incentives start to look very different too. Incentives and behaviors really do matter. So our rewards increase our activity, but they do not guarantee that we're going to have ownership. So this is the difference between commitment and compliance. So incentives narrow our focus towards what we measure, but compliance often replaces commitment. We don't want just compliant. We want commitment. We want people to actually want to do the work that they're doing. People are often optimized for the systems that they're in. So blame the system, not the person. Over time, systems shape culture more than value statements ever do. We aren't just what we say on the wall on our mission statements. What we are what we repeatedly do. And the strategy and structure comes into the conversation because strategy in business architecture is really important, because strategies fail when they often stay abstract. Architecture in our businesses is when we turn our intent into our execution. So alignment often happens when the decisions that we do connect to the values that we have. So we want to keep things integrated, not just in silos. Many executives fail because of design problems, not because of people problems. Execution improves when our priorities and our governance and our incentives are all aligned. So we're often just seeking alignment, not just in life, but in our organizations. As organizations often grow more complex, our networks matter even more. Networks help us build long-term influence. They help us build trust. They help us build depth. And so diversity and weak ties are actually really important. It's not just who our friends are, it's who our friends of our friends of our friends are. Being known across multiple networks really matters because it helps you scale. It helps you have more relationships that you wouldn't have otherwise. So long-term relationship growth comes from expanding beyond just your normal reach to maintain some credibility. All of this leads to the same conclusion. Where leadership is not just effort, and it's definitely not just authority. And it doesn't just come from attention. So leadership ultimately is a design. It's also the care. It's the effort that we put into. It's people seeing us putting in the work. How power flows and how decisions are made and how incentives are in structure ultimately are what matter. People are connected ultimately, and how strategy moves or stalls is always going to be related to how effective the leadership and the organization holds up. So we need to focus on what makes leadership and what makes organizations successful. We want people to come to work every single day. And that requires us to build relationships and helps us build a system that builds commitment, not just compliance. So thank you. That's our assessment for week 3 of the Strategic Management and Executive Master's Program. I'm currently enrolled in Power and Influence in Business Architecture. Please let me know if you have any comments or suggestions. I am all ears. Have a wonderful rest of your day.